Well, Prime Minister Lawrence Wong has unveiled a $143 billion budget for 2025, the country's 60th year of independence. It's one he describes as a budget for all Singaporeans. In his speech, Mr. Wong referenced external turbulence and uncertainty multiple times, but he also outlined strategies for Singapore to rise above. Now, the budget is aimed at easing immediate cost of living pressures with new and enhanced rebates and vouchers for individuals, households and businesses. Now, it also keeps an eye on longer-term structural needs by building capabilities in innovation and technology and helping local companies to grow. In order to unlock the country's growth potential, Singapore will invest in world-class infrastructure, such as Changi Airport. It will also tackle resource constraints by exploring nuclear power. On the jobs front, getting Singaporeans into roles of the future. There will be allowances for workers to embrace lifelong learning, while employers will be incentivized to transform jobs. Families not left out. Parents who opt to have more kids will get support with medical, education and even recreational expenses. More resources will also be set aside to help seniors age well. They can look forward to grants and subsidies for long-term care with help with accessibility, fixtures and fittings, as well as MediSave top-ups. Now, uplifting the vulnerable, also a key theme, with help for lower-income families to own homes and those with disabilities to thrive through employment. Now, the Prime Minister says Budget 2025 is one that is shaped with all Singaporeans weaving together their aspirations and views.
But despite the uncertainties, we can look ahead with a degree of confidence. Singapore today is far stronger than we were 60 years ago. This is the legacy of generations of Singaporeans, with each one running a good race. The baton has now been passed, and it is our turn to take Singapore forward. This budget builds on previous budgets, not only to address today's challenges, but to plan ahead and secure Singapore's future.
So let's take a look at the highlights. First off, a bumper crop of vouchers, rebates and gifts for households. Singaporeans aged 21 to 59 will receive $600, while those aged 60 and above will receive $800. Tax relief also on the cards for residents. They will receive a 60% personal income tax rebate for income earned in 2025. The rebate will be capped at $200 and will mostly benefit middle-income workers. The SG60 perks also acknowledge the integral position that hawker centres occupy in the Singaporean way of life. Up to $1 billion will be spent over the next 20 to 30 years to build new centres and upgrade others. There will also be $600 rental support for each stall in hawker centres and markets managed by government and government-appointed operators. And to encourage the spirit of giving, over $600 million will be set aside to match selected charities and social causes. And these will benefit arts and heritage charities, fundraising for Singapore-registered charities and other social causes. A new SG Gives matching grant will also be introduced to help donors give to a range of social causes. It's hoped that this will spur larger donors to keep giving by offering a higher sum of $1.50 for every $1 donated. In a nod to the role self-help groups play, the Prime Minister touched on how they address the needs of their respective communities, crediting them with strengthening the country's social compact. To help them enhance their work, additional funding of $60 million will be provided to them over the next 5 years. Now, SG60 will also see more support for sports and the arts. Active SG members will get a $100 credit top-up. A new SG Culture Pass worth $100 will be introduced, and that's to amp up attendance at local arts and heritage gigs. Now, Mr. Wong says nurturing cohesion remains a focus in this budget, and unity is a precious asset that must not be taken for granted.
Singapore is at its strongest when we stand together. We may have our differences, but we are all Singaporeans living on this tiny red dot as one family. When we rally together as one, there is no challenge we cannot overcome. And this unity is what keeps us resilient, thriving, and moving forward, even in an uncertain and troubled world.
Well, there are also other cost of living support measures. For starters, all households will get $800 in CDC vouchers. Now, these can be used at supermarkets, heartland shops and hawker centres. HDB dwellers will get utility rebates of between $440 and $760 and 1.5 to 3.5 months offset to service and conservancy charges.